Hey, just a quick video for my Haley and anybody else interested in my fast Fathead chips recipe. She said she had trouble the first time, so I'm going to show you what I do, and we'll see where the problem might have occurred. Okay, so the recipe says, I should have put this in the other order, 1/2 cup almond flour and 1 cup mozzarella. Maybe that's the problem. So this is a 1/2 cup measure. I'm just going into my bag of there we go, shredded mozzarella. To be honest with you, this is really what I do. I know a 1/2 cup is about a handful. I'll show you. A 1/2 cup's about a handful. That's a little light. There's some stuck together at the bottom. I know that the bagged mozzarella does have a little, what does it have on it? An anti-caking agent. I live with that. Progress, not perfection, right? But there we go. There's my shredded mozzarella. I'm putting that back in the fridge. I've got it in a microwave-proof bowl. I do a low, shallow one. And I kind of spread it out in a ring because, you know, sometimes there are hot spots in the middle. And I'm going to put this in the microwave for 30 seconds, check it, and then another 30. It usually takes about a minute. Hang on. Okay, this is how it looks after 30 seconds. Doesn't look like anything's happening, but trust me, it's getting soft. 30 more seconds. Meanwhile, let's measure our almond flour. Keep your almond flour in the fridge. I love these little containers with the pop-up tops. They remind me of that game Trouble. I don't think kids know about Trouble, but any old timers like me will remember how much fun it was to pop that bubble in Trouble. It was the most fun part of the game. All right, this goes back in the fridge, and whoops, here's the microwave. Hang on. There we go. See how weird that is? See how weird? It's just like putty, but that's what we that's what melted mozzarella is like. So I'm just dumping the almond flour in there, going in with my perfectly clean hand, and I'm just gooping it around. And this is very strange, and it doesn't feel right. And you don't think that almond flour is really going to mix in. And so you just keep kind of flipping it and twisting it and flopping it. Somehow, the almond flour does disappear. And then you worry, is it all just in one spot? And oddly, the more you go, the more kind of therapeutic it is, because this is, oops, sorry for the noise, it's all kind of nice and warm and soft, and I guess it's combined now. All right, so now we're going to roll this out. Hang on. My oven just sang to me because it's preheated to 375. So it's waiting. Yeah, that's all right. But I need to just roll these into chips. Actually, I roll it into a sheet and then we cut it into chips. You see how nice and easy that rolls? The only problem is the parchment paper wrinkling. I will sometimes flip it and take a look what's going on down here. Okay, I can feel it. I'm kind of lumpy over here and thin over here. So I'm going to make some adjustments. Obviously, the name of the game is to get it nice and even. It's looking pretty good. Not perfect. I can see I'm kind of thin over here and kind of thick over here, but I will live with that. Smoosh it out with my fingers. And now, I've got one of these nice baking sheets. I've done it just on a regular baking sheet. This is an air bake. it's good for cookies and such, but just a regular baking sheet works fine too, because you don't cook this for very long and you want it to get crispy. So I just give it a liberal amount of salt. You could do it with any other flavors as well, but I just think they're so good plain. Whoops. Whoops. Yeah, I recommend you do that with the grease side down. I did it the wrong way and really greased up my hands. Oh well, I'm going to put this in the oven. It's 375 degrees and set my timer for 5 minutes. 5 greasy minutes. Hang on. Yeah, all right. So at 5 minutes, they look like this. And I'm not going to touch the pan. I can do this. I'm just going to, make little lines. You don't have to be too. Do you really like long, wonky ones, or do you want them to be perfectly square? It doesn't matter. Do whatever you like. Skinny ones, fat ones, small ones, big ones. Yeah, that's kind of a mess, but there we go. And put them back in the oven hold on, let's just put them back in first. I don't really want them to cool too much. And let's see how much longer I really leave them in here. So let's see what I put in the directions. A half cup almond, 1 cup mozzarella cheese shredded. That's correct. Sprinkle of sea salt. Place shredded mozzarella in 30-second bursts. So I needed 2 30-second bursts. Almond flour will be stiff. Well, will be weird. Roll thin between parchment. Remove top layer. Salt. Oh, look at this. Score with knife, but do not separate. I missed the bake for 5 minutes first. So I need to fix that. Haley Rose and all my daughters, we're going to have to mark this up. I'll fix it for you and for anyone. And online, I've just put this up online for anybody who wants to grab it for $1.38. I'll fix that first. So you bake for 5 minutes, then you score with knife or a pizza cutter, and then you bake for an additional, you just want them to be golden, well, like this color. Maybe this will happen to you. Do you see where, whoops, this is exactly what I want. This is getting a little overdone. And this just shows that I wasn't very even when I rolled it out. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm leaving the oven on. And I'm going to let this sit here for a minute. And then I'll break off the parts that are done. And this part over here, I'm going to just throw that back in the oven for maybe another 3-4 minutes. It hasn't even been a minute because this is all I need. Listen, can you see how that just, well, I'm going to say it snaps right off. There it goes. Snaps right off. This snaps right up. Snaps right off. Maybe these guys also. Definitely this guy. This guy might be a little borderline. I'll take this one. And these over here on the edge. Yeah, I pick and choose. My fingers are all over everything. But these ones here, they're going to be a little, they're not bad. They're just not going to be as crispy. They'll be a little chewy. I'm going to pop them back in just for another couple minutes. You see how they just break apart so easily on those score lines. And they are, look at that. That's golden brown and cheesy and delicious. We'll call these extra toasty. I'm going to have a taste. Oh, I'm sorry, the mic's right there, isn't it? That was I'm not going to chew it up again, but it's hard because it's so good. And that's it. So I can't make these look prettier. That's not my thing. There they are. The rest will be out in a minute. But apart from my mistake in the book, sorry, I'm going to fix that right now. If anybody wants the version with all the steps, it will be available. Link below. But otherwise, simplest. You don't need the recipe, right? You just saw me do it. 2 parts shredded mozzarella cheese to 1 part almond flour. Roll it out, salt it, bake it. No, score it after 5 minutes and then bake it. Yum.